Hi, this is Brian McAlister at the Full Recovery Wellness Center. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that if you're struggling in addiction or you know someone struggling with substance abuse, you're probably familiar with, and that's the repercussions we come from the legal issues we wind up from the misguided decisions we make while under the influence. For many years now, I've been volunteering at my local jail, taking people through the book Full Recovery, taking them 12-step meetings, and trying to encourage them in any way possible to change their life for the better. It's a funny thing, and funny not in a funny way, but in a peculiar way, that 90%, upwards of 90% of all the people incarcerated in the United States of America today have a drug and alcohol problem. You know, when I go into these rooms and I say, who thinks they're coming back? Anybody plan on coming back here again? They're in prison. I don't see any hands going up. Nobody, I'm not coming back. I'll never do this again. But that's also an interesting statistic, because in the state that I live in, the recidivism rate is 90%, almost 90%. That means that if you go to jail and you have a drug and alcohol problem, you have a 90% chance you're gonna come back out and do it again. And that's the issue. Right now, if you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you can figure out that if you don't do drugs or alcohol, you also have a 90% chance you're not going to come back here again. Yet everybody does the same thing over and over and over again. You know, I had a lot of habits, not just a drug and alcohol habit. I had a habit of the way I spoke to myself, the type of conversation and inner dialogue I kept on a regular basis. I told myself misguided things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'll never get out of this, I'll never live to be 30 years old. These are the type of thoughts I had, so I might as well go out in a blaze of glory. You know, there was no blaze of glory. My life was one of addiction, selfishness, and remorse. When I decided, and it was a gift of God, that when I made that decision, and the word decision means to cut away, literally the Latin root decidere means to cut away. When I decided to cut away from my own personal limiting beliefs about what I was able to accomplish in life and find somebody who was accomplishing what I was trying to accomplish and do what they did, I got what they got. I got a great life. I got the ability to stay sober one day at a time. I developed friendships that have lasted through the years. I repaired a broken marriage that was on its way out of 13 years. I wound up becoming the father that I always should have been. These aren't things that are so outrageous. Most people know how to do this. I didn't know how to do this. But by becoming an alcoholic and drug addict and really getting to the point where I had to throw in the towel, I had to admit, I can't do this. I can't have one drink. I never had one. I never had one drug. I didn't want one. I'm not a one kind of guy. I'm a more kind of guy. So the idea is, for the last 26 years, I just have not picked up a drink or a drug today for a lot of todays. That's how this thing works. I was mentored by good people. I changed my way of thinking. I found a higher power of my understanding, not the religion of my youth, but that's okay. If you have the religion of your youth and you're happy with it, that's wonderful. I'm not trying to convince you or anybody else to change your opinion or your desire for a higher power. But I'm saying for me, I had to come up with a higher power of my understanding that I could lean on rather than reach for an antidepressant, a drug of any kind, street or otherwise, or alcohol. My higher power became my source of strength. It became my empowerment. When I admitted I was powerless and my life was unmanageable, I had the paradox that often happens in treatment, in that I gained power. I became powerful. I had the power of choice. I had the power to influence people around me. I had the power to help save another addict or alcoholic. These are all the gifts of recovery. So what I suggest you do is try the same thing. Find somebody who's getting the results you want. Ask them for help. Humble yourself. Take their guidance, and you too can get the same results that you're seeking.